Okay, the question for this video is what can I do with Baijiu and a Pomelo? And the answer is make punch. So I am going to a Chinese New Year brunch. And I thought that I would bring some punch. I got this pomelo at the grocery, so I figured I would use that as the start of my punch. Fun fact about pomelos, the grapefruit is the product of a pomelo and an orange, so a pomelo is sort of a uber master grapefruit.
Might as well get all the peel. This pomelo has a peel.
And so to make an oleo, we basically peel the fruit and put in the sugar. I am using about 3/4 of a cup of sugar, not quite that much. Thanks, Kitty. And that's plenty. We're not trying to make a ton of punch here. And I also had some green tea left over, so I decided I would steep that and use it for dissolving the sugar. Makes you a nice tea flavored syrup. Tastes real good. And then all we gotta do is strain out these pomelo peels, and we're ready to roll. The next step is to juice this pomelo. It's pretty big with a big rind. You kind of have to juice it in bits. So my other fun fact about pomelos is that they come in two varieties. This is the pale fleshed variety, which is a little sweeter, and then there's the pink fleshed variety, which is a little more sour. I just learned this today when I looked up pomelo on Wikipedia, but apparently I have the sweeter version. So yeah, just gonna juice these up and we're ready to move on to the next step. So we'll just dump this into our bowl with the oleo syrup, and we can move on to the booze. Now my approach to punch is basically just to make the oleo with any citrus, dissolve that with some tea, add in the juice from the citrus you peeled, and then you can add booze. For this we're going to go ahead and do rum and Baijiu. The Baijiu is a real funky, kind of weird flavor, and I figured out earlier that that went pretty well with the funk of the Jamaican rum. Now I'm just sort of estimating here, but I think I've got about 200 mils of Appleton and 50 mils of Wray and Nephew. That's roughly half of the juice and sugar. That should be fine. Again, we're just playing it by ear here. So we'll give that a taste before we put in the Baijiu. Now this Baijiu is real powerful and it can kind of overwhelm other ingredients. So I decided to put in just a half an ounce to start with to see how that did, and it was surprisingly impactful, but it tasted pretty good. So I decided to run with it. And then you have to remember with punch to dilute it sufficiently. If you serve this sweet, tasty punch to people at the party, they tend to get wasted. So I poured in an extra, I think, 250 of water just to mellow out the whole thing out a little bit. Last step is just to make sure it tastes good, which it does, and then bottle it up. I forgot to strain my pomelo juice when I juiced it, so I decided to just strain it when I put it in the bottle. But the great thing about punch is you can really play it by ear. If this had needed something now at this juncture, I could add it. I could put in more rum. I could put in another spirit. I could have added lemon juice if I wanted, or more sugar. It's really forgiving and almost always a crowd pleaser, because at heart it's a sour, and sours are always a hit. You can never go wrong with a sour, And even this with this weird baijiu in it tastes pretty darn good. That's pretty dope.
Delicious. I'd say pineapple? Jackfruit?
Pomelo.
Very refreshing.
Yeah, the japchae, kimchi,
The idea is that, like,
soybean sprouts.
My favorite. This is my favorite. I'll take this.
All right, thanks for watching. Go ahead and subscribe down below. And next time you're having a thing or going to a thing, why don't you make some punch? It's fun, it's easy, or even milk punch. Bye.